Spartan Nation, what's going on? This is Ken, the super cool Spartan from Q the Woodshed. My brother Brian, the super mad Spartan, coming through at you. Week 3, MSU versus those fighting Penguins from Youngstown State. It was a interesting game. Glad we got the W. But as usual, you know, when you go in between the lines, there's always things that you see and that you're not satisfied with as a fan. It's always the ebbs and flows, the roller coaster ride that you take with your team, regardless of, you know, who you root for. But in the land of Spartan fandom, yeah, it's one of those things where you kind of clench on, you know, to the edge of your seats, to clenching your teeth, to cheering up and down, to like, what the, what? What the helly? So a myriad of emotions here as a Spartan fan here. So we're just going to get right into it. We're going to start it off with a little hotness here. My brother Brian here, you know, the good Sparty, bad Sparty. But this segment is called What Were You Mad About? So this is your Christopher Mad Dog Russo segment here, Mr. Super Mad Spartan. So the floor is yours.
Well, you don't like to complain about victories because they come so few and far between. But this game, and maybe it's hyperbole, my I'm still mad. It outside of more devastating injuries, this is probably went as bad as it could have went outside of losing almost. Uh, there are a lot of question marks still about this team, and those question marks did not get alleviated. It wasn't a feel good, okay, we can take this show on the road, go to USC, and see if we can, you know, go in there and win that game. And that game, in this game versus Youngstown State, did not happen. Was not a feel good. The game wasn't. It never felt like it was in doubt. But there were just so many concerns and question marks that get pulled up now versus a team that is supposedly supposed to be the worst team we play on our schedule, and we did not look like the dominant, ready to go Big Ten team. You know, you look around the Big Ten these last 3 weeks, there have been some abject blowouts, like teams getting completely put in the dirt. In our peer group doing this to FCS schools. And of course, it doesn't really mean a whole lot. But at the same time, you would like to see your school look dominant against lesser opponents. And they can say all they want to that, you know, Youngstown State's a good FCS school. They're still an FCS school. They're still a level below. And I'm not trying to, you know, crap on Youngstown State. It's just that Michigan State did not look like you would have expected a hungry, up and coming, solid team to look versus a lesser opponent. And all the goodwill that was earned versus, you know, Boston College Eagles, puff, up in smoke. The fan base is basically back to the brink of apathy, and people are openly questioning the staff. And I'm not too far off with some of the things, especially, you know, we got to talk about is the defense. You know, it's that wasn't a good showing. Even if you watched it, even Jonathan Smith, every time they interviewed him, he said defense guy look
like
just
ass,
wasn't there.
huh? Just straight up, not ASS, but AZZ.
Okay,
is that
so
what you're saying?
That would be too much. I wouldn't say look like ass. That's a step too far. But along the defensive line, they was not dominating. The linebackers were always put in bad positions because we get no pass rush, so they're always in conflict. The linebackers had a tough day dropping back. And I understand that substitutions, rolling back. You know, I understand they didn't have They didn't play all their star. Like Jordan Hall didn't play the full game. But again, they moved the ball on this frequently through the air. You know, again, we're seeing wide receivers open in the intermediate routes, just completely just wide open, uncovered. No one's by them.
Mm-hmm.
So you're allowing teams to dink and dunk and get the ball down the field. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
bending, a lot of breaking in this game too. We're still seeing miscommunications in the back end. Before the play, you're seeing people running around getting yelled at, hey, go here, go here. Like this is game 3. We should be those kinks should already be worked out. And part of it is they're rotating a lot of guys still on the offensive line, which is strange. And in the back 7, I don't know if it's injuries or they're just trying to get the best. They still don't know. But we're still seeing breakdowns, communication issues, and this might seem unfair. And it's I normally don't jump to this far. This defense is better than the previous regime's defense, but not by much.
Mm.
We're still saying the same issues. You know, if you pulled off the mask, is Joe Rossi? Is he Scotty Hazelton?
Oh.
That's what it's seeming like.
Hmm.
You know, there will be times for them to this season still to correct that, but watching that defense and lack of pass rush versus a supposedly overmatched opponent was not good, and it doesn't inspire a lot of confidence moving forward with the season right now. So, what I'm mad about? I'm mad about that. The team looks like if we play a competent offense, unless Aiden Childs goes out there and just has career nights every single game, it's just not a good look. I'm very concerned about going on the road to play USC with the way our defense is
Mm-hmm.
looking.
So you're saying that
So what am I mad about? I'm mad about this season looking like we're trending more towards 5-7, hoping for 6-6 than 8 wins. That's what I'm mad about.
so it's not it's not one of those famous Mad Dog Russo what he does on First Take. It's not a strike me down type of moment, but it's a
No,
strike.
no,
It's not strike me down, but it's a strike situation with the defense.
no. We're it's concerning because all right, they looked good versus Western Michigan. Okay, who's Western Michigan? You know, okay, whatever. You know, that was always going to be you played Boston College. Looked a little shaky in the first half. Second half kind of got it together. Okay. Youngstown State, of the 3 non-conference games, you're the minimum the worst opponent you're going to face the rest of the year, and you have one of the worst defensive performances you've seen. And I know they gave up 40 to Boston College, but that includes overtime. We gave up the positives last week. Second half, defense gave up 6 points. Gave up a lot of yards. Got fortunate with some missed passes by Boston College. Fast forward to this game, Youngstown State would have put down the field on that defense. A team that's not known for passing, this guy completed like 70%, like almost 70% of his
Mm-hmm.
passes, over 200 yards. 3 runners getting hit in stride, running down the field. People don't know, the defense don't know what's going on in the backfield, in the back half.
Yeah, yeah.
Versus Youngstown State. We're gonna go see USC, who has a better offense than Youngstown State. So yeah, it's not inspiring a lot of confidence.
Hey, I agree with you. I agree with you. And a question that I have for you, Super Mad Spartan, and it was just something I've thought about as you were talking, is it possible, even just a slight chance, that MSU maybe overlooked Youngstown State just a little bit, knowing they have USC coming up? That's just a thought I had.
Okay, then that's the coaching staff. You're supposed to have these guys
Mm-hmm.
already. We said it last week. fans, we can look ahead. It's not our jobs to go out there and play. So we can talk about, okay, USC. Because everybody, that's the measuring stick game in this first quarter of the season. How do you stack up with a a a talented
Mm-hmm.
program?
Right, right.
The coaching staff don't have to be looking at USC. They should have been looking at Youngstown State. And if they allow the players to get in the funk and overlook them, well, that's when the coaching staff and that needs to be addressed.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that they did. I was just something I thought about because that is a pretty common cliche amongst all these talking heads when they have,
No, and I, see,
when they have,
go
uh,
ahead. I'm sorry.
and when they know they have a bigger opponent coming up, but right before that bigger opponent, there's this lesser opponent that teams they overlook that lesser opponent, knowing they have, a bigger opponent coming up, that following week. So, and again, I'm not saying that happened, so I'm not putting it out there. This is just something I thought of, and thinking of those, some of those talking heads say, who probably, they, these I'm not going to say so-called sports analysts, but the usual talking heads you see out there. They always put these things out there about, well, they may have been looking over their opponent, blah 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 blah. So,
And but it's valid because these aren't machines. These are human beings. We're talking. These are young men. They're not immune to, all right, I know I have a big project due on Monday, but I got everything. I'm preparing for that big project, even though I have something coming up on
mm-hmm.
Friday. So Thursday, I kind of I'm just gonna overlook it. I can get that done in my sleep. And but that thing ends up being more than you thought it was. I can understand that, yes, but still, this is not. This team hasn't earned the right to do that. They haven't earned the right to overlook anybody. And what has Michigan State football done in the last 4 years, 5 years, last decade? We're a decade removed from basically the pinnacle of Michigan State football getting to the playoffs. That's the highest level we've reached, and it's been a sharp decline since then. We haven't done enough winning to feel like we can overlook anybody.
Oh yeah, I second that. So, yeah, I agree. I agree that the it was very alarming to see the defense the way that they performed, and it was pretty eye opening and maddening and and frustrating. And it's just like, wow, what are we doing here? It's week 3, and don't get me wrong. I mean, the good news is that MSU did win the game. They're 3 and
There's
0.
some
Yeah, yeah,
positives.
they're 3
Some
and 0. They're not like UCLA, unfortunately, who's 0 and 3. MSU's 3 and 0. And going to the USC game, yeah, it is concerning because USC, they did their thing on the road, at Purdue yesterday, and of course we know Purdue, they're in another rebuild mode, but nevertheless, they got a win
yes.
at Purdue, and they'll be at home next week against us. It's a night game for them. It's going to be a super night game for us. Those of us who live on the East Coast or the Eastern time zone, I'm already going to make sure to have a lot of Red Bull on standby and maybe a couple of Mountain Dews.
It's gonna, it's gonna be a tough one.
But yes, yeah, it's concerning to say the least. So hopefully, the defense will look at the film and Joe Rossi looks at the tape and like, okay, what are we doing?
Listen,
What are we doing?
there's with the defense, and this is not this game specific, just overall. One of the big issues I see on the defense, outside of X's and O's and miscommunications and all that, Who is our difference maker on defense?
Right. That was something I was thinking about too. I was thinking about
Who's
that
who,
also.
who's the guy that the team who's the guy on our defense that the opposing offense has the game
Right.
plan for?
Who's the game wrecker?
And I'm not saying this as disrespect to the players on defense. I think we have a solid players, just solid average players on defense. I don't think we have anybody who's a complete difference maker who another offense has to officially game plan for. And I don't think our next man up, we're coming at them in waves works. It hasn't worked at all this year. Well, okay, that's hyperbole. It looked decent enough versus Western Michigan. Western just might not be that good.
Right. They
It
got
looked
whooped up on by,
decent in moments versus
yeah, they
Boston
got
College.
whooped up at Illinois.
Boston College might not be that good.
Oh, BC lost yesterday?
They just lost to Stanford.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, they lost
I
to
didn't know
Stanford
that.
by 10.
Wow. Wow.
Yes, they lost. So, okay. The evidence is stacking up week by week, and it's looking like, okay, no, we haven't seen
Mm-hmm.
it. Could someone still emerge? It's very much possible. A lot of moving parts. There's still, a lot of new players. Those are all excuses. It has to be seen because I'm a more reasonable fan than most. I'm starting to feel okay.
You're starting to slip into the dark side a little bit.
This year two. This is year two. You don't get 4 years to do a program. Not with the transfer portal. Now with you paying players. Now that you have a free agency, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana just hired their coach, and he looks like they have them rolling. They made the playoffs. So yeah, that's putting a lot of pressure on Jonathan Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Fair or unfair. We say we're going to look at Indiana and see what it looks like. It still looks like they rolling. Are they the top tier of the Big Ten? No, but they're at that second tier, clawing their way up to the top, where we want to be at. So again, I'm starting to look at the coaching staff. Okay, I feel like the offense has made significant improvements. Cool. Aiden Childs looking like the man. Appreciate it. We thought the defense would be solid. Needs work on the pass rush. Right now, it's a failing grade.
Ooh, an F.
Truthfully.
Or is it a D? Well, D is not really failing, so I guess it'd be an E. Because you still pass. You still pass with a D.
Well, like you can still pass. Yes, we're almost at that.
Like
we're
D minus,
withdrawal period
D minus to E.
Withdrawal period. Usually after that first midterm, that first big test, then the withdrawal date comes up. We're almost on the withdrawal date with this defense in this first part of the semester.
Oh boy, yeah.
The big test is USC. The defense has not expired a lot of confidence. That's all I'm saying right now. They still have time to improve. I can say that. When the coach is doing interviews saying the defense is not where it needs to be at. He said it every time they talk to Jonathan Smith on that broadcast yesterday, which is at least twice. He mentioned the defense not being where it's supposed to be at. And yes, I know we're harping on it. I know we kind of, okay, let's go on to something else. But the defense, that was the biggest bad Sparty, what you mad about?
Well, I could say that if, because I didn't watch Coach Smith's presser after the game, but if he said it out loud, then that definitely means Joe Ross needs to get the act together because
it got to look like something. Like in this age of transfer portal, why? I understand you don't want to allocate a bunch of money, but all right, we need something. We need something. I don't want to keep repeating myself. All right, how the defense looks. It looks like when we go to USC, if we're not going to win in this shootout, they're going to blow our doors off. That's how it feels right now to me. And that could be hyperbole. I don't care. That's how I feel. That game to me right now has the feeling, the makeup of what we've experienced the last few years, or we're going to go to USC and they're going to put it on us.
Yeah,
that's how it feels looking at that defense.
This is the game that I think will define MSU's season, whether if we sink or not, because just like last year, we were 3-0 heading into the Boston College game, and we know we talked about it. It was a very winnable game. But when we lost, that pretty much set the season to where it ultimately ended up 5-7. So
Lost like the next like 3.
we need to, yeah, this game with USC, this is going to be the game that defines the season, whether if we will go excel or we don't.
And to be clear, I don't think I didn't. All right, and going through my own personal rundown, I didn't think we were going to beat USC at USC
Mm-hmm.
anyway. Okay, but my big thing we did the season preview is that we have to look like
Right,
something. We can't go out and get our doors blown off
right.
anymore. But just it. But looking at USC's offense and how they have been um, this season, they played Purdue. I know Purdue is not some vaunted defense, but at least Purdue got they threw some things at them. They got some sacks. We barely got sacks versus the FCS school. The defensive line didn't get a whole lot of
Mm-hmm.
push. The offensive line didn't get a great amount of push either. But that's a lower totem pole concern for me right
Mm-hmm.
now. So if you can't get push versus an explosive offense, the defense can get off the field and they're giving up big bomb plays. Because to be clear, have you noticed every game there's been some throw the ball down the field, 50-yard, 60-yard passes
Yeah,
completed every
yeah,
game this
there
season.
has been.
We haven't played a receivers that are as good as USC's
Mm-hmm.
receivers yet. So that's a concern. And keep going back to it, but I know we got to move on. We've just been hammering Bad Friday for 20
Yeah, there's
minutes.
definitely some good things, but I'll say this before we move on. Um, to alter what I said about USC, I think that if, and we won't get into it that much because, we're going to do our preview show later on. So I'll
Preview
save
show,
all of
yes.
my comments for that. But I'll say that even if we do lose at USC, like you said, if we put up a good fight, like with, uh, what's his name? Texas A&M and Notre Dame last night. I mean, that was a game that A&M showed some fight. I mean, they actually won the game, but but
Yes.
a game kind of like that, or like Georgia Tennessee, where and maybe Georgia Tennessee is,
It's
is a
back
is
and
a
forth.
better analogy for this. You know, Tennessee ended up losing the game, but they were in the fight the entire game. Yeah, they lost, but it was
Yes.
going back and forth. If MSU puts up that kind of fight and they end up losing, okay, I can accept that because you can look at it and say, okay, a couple of plays decided to do the outcome of the game and didn't go in our favor. But if we do get our doors blown off, then yeah, I think that's where the defining moment of the season is early on for this team. Because if we get
Fan
ramrodded,
base is going to
right, if we
check
get
out.
ramrodded at USC, then I think that will set a precedence for us having not a good season. But I'm going to leave it there. Let's talk some positives because, you know,
One more bad.
uh-oh.
One more bad thing. One.
One more
We got to talk
bad.
about
Oh no. Should I close my eyes? Oh
injuries.
yeah.
Injuries are starting to pile
Again.
up
Damn,
a little bit.
again. Yeah.
Nick Marsh went out. Hopefully just
Right, right.
precautionary. Cry Frazier was in a walking boot. Hopefully that's just precautionary. Uh Lyman,
The
was it
guy that transferred from Oregon
Vucevic?
State, I
Vucevic?
read, hurt his knee or something.
Yes. He got hurt. And I haven't seen anything about it today. I haven't looked it up. I don't know if it's long term. It hurt. The guard hurt. You know, defensive back was already kind of banged up. We got Nakai Martinez back. All right. Injuries is a concern. But yeah, but that's the only other really bad thing. Defense was the biggest negative takeaway from the game. The biggest. I can mention one more thing real quick. Offensive line had a mixed bag in running and run blocking. I think some of the running backs missed some cutbacks and some open holes, but okay, those things look like all right. It's fixable. I think you see enough from the run game to say it's improved. I think if the offense is going to be Childs centric with the receivers, we don't need to have a dominant running game. We just need to have an effective running
Mm-hmm.
game. They have to be respected. I think we've seen respectable. We'll continue that situation will continue to be monitored. Right now, it's not as a high level concern, but it's a concern. It's out
Mm-hmm.
there. But yeah, let's we can go on to the positive, more
Well,
sunshine
yeah. So
vibes.
the good thing is, like I said, we won the game. We won the game. MSU more, the points, 41 points. Especially putting up points in the second half, because that was one of the main things we talked about coming into the season and after the Western game was putting up points in the second half. So the past two games they've done that. They scored 42 against Boston College and they scored 41 yesterday. So I think that's good. And I'm still liking what I'm seeing from Childs. It seems like he's continuing to, to excel, you know,
Yes,
uh, in the offense. And, to all of you Aiden Childs haters out there, maybe just keep on hating. Maybe that's what the team needs for you to keep on hating. So,
that has quieted down a lot because everybody's realized um, the season really rides on Aiden Childs in terms of offense and scoring, and I think he's living up to it. He looks very much like someone who can carry the team because he carried him this
oh, yeah,
game.
he did. He did.
The offensive line wasn't the best, but Childs was
Oh,
he was
yeah, he
on it.
was.
The receivers, tight ends, they were offense looked good, and I thank goodness because this game the defense was just giving it up,
And
and the offense kept going. I think they scored on 7 of 10
yes,
possessions,
yes, they did.
so that they did what they're supposed to do for the most part against a overmatched opponent. Run game, little
Hmm.
suspect. But everything else, okay, fine. You know, Nick Marsh goes down. He was having a dominant game. They didn't want to tackle him. Well, he goes down. All right, the offense keeps on moving. We're starting to see other playmakers. Jack
I
Velling,
know.
he looked like who we expected him to look. He looked as good as advertised. He had some nice catches, some nice run after the catches. He had a touchdown. He
And the
okay.
other guy,
We got some tight
Masunis,
ends.
is it
I'm happy.
Michael Masunis?
As soon as
Yeah,
yes,
I mean the tight ends they look excellent yesterday. I was like, wow, MSU. I
yeah,
mean,
and
to me, and I was talking to our dad about this, earlier when we were walking, is that on offense, you really have to start accounting for the weapons that MSU has, because if you got two tight ends who can score on you like that, you got Marsh, and shout out to Amari Kelly. I mean, he almost had a excellent punt
yes,
return. He's about 5 feet away from reaching the end zone before they ran it in.
yep. That the Youngstown had a that was a great play by a Youngstown person because Darius Snow had him blocked, but the guy had like 50 pounds on Darius Snow, so he at the last second he reaches out his
Right,
arm and just clips Amari Kelly's foot to stop it. But heck of a play on
right,
both
right.
sides.
And maybe ever since maybe Naylor was at MSU. I mean, in terms of like punt returns or kickoff returns, really hasn't been that much.
Talking about Jaden
Or
Reed,
Jaden Reed. I know it was either
yeah,
Jay Naylor or
it was
Reed, one of
Reed,
those two. But yeah, Amari Kelly,
yeah,
yeah,
Jaden
he
Reed,
did his thing yesterday, especially doing punt returns and stuff. So that was very encouraging to see. It looks like MSU found their kicker too, because the guy who making the field goals and extra points, he's looking like he's money. So offensively, we should be
yeah.
pretty happy because MSU got some stuff on offense. I think
I
so.
have a new fear unlocked though, and if someone brought us up on the message boards, and it's hard to say it, but are we trending towards another John L. Smith era with having a fun, nice offense and then just a defense that just
Now, what,
you have an offense that can win you right now. It feels like we have an offense that can win us any game, and we
could
have a
lose his
defense that feels like
games.
could possibly lose us any
Oh,
game.
that's a good one there.
But I know I know I'm because I'm very disappointed with this game. Watching this game has made me feel like I'm going to change my win prediction for this year. That's how concerning the defense
Hmm.
looked to me. This is just my personal thing, and shout me out if I'm wrong. I don't care. It's just how I feel. Beginning of the season, I feel like the ceiling was 8-4, 9-3, and that was with Aiden Childs growing and the defense just being
Hmm.
solid. I think we've gotten the first part of Aiden Childs growing, and each week I feel like he looks so comfortable in this game, which is really
Yeah.
good to see.
And he showed a little moxie in the pocket
But
too.
now,
He showed a little moxie in the pocket.
yeah,
Yeah,
just
stepping
stepping up.
up and
Yeah, because they talk about how they were working his footwork. He stayed in there. He had time, so that was good. We want to see that versus the overmatched opponent. With that defense, it man, it really feels like it's a 5-7, 6-6
hmm
defense with Aiden Childs being playing out of his mind still. That's what it feels like looking at that defense as of today.
hmm
And I hate to feel like I'm sounding like I'm negative, but I don't know too many Spartan fans that could reasonably tell me to my face and disagree and say, "Well, how's it going to be better?" I'm like, "Well, I'm talking about what I have seen, not what I hope.
Right.
I can't live in hope. I have to live
Yeah.
on
Right.
the record." We just saw them score on the field and not look very good. Now, there's still time to change that narrative. Like I said, we're only in the first quarter of the season, but usually that first quarter of the season kind of shows who you're going to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah. My.
But still, the offense, yeah, I'm very much pleased outside of some run blocking
hmm
things.
Yeah, I agree. It's because my one of my takeaways was that, and again, like you said, what do they say on like a first take? It's fluid. It's fluid.
It's fluid.
Yes, I watch a lot
Yes.
of First Take in the morning, uh, with Stephen A. Smith and whatnot. But yeah, there's still time for the defense to evolve and at least get them to the point where we like for them to be at to kind of complement the offense. I'll say at least in the here and now, it does look like MSU's offense will be carrying the team until the defense can step up their play to make it more balanced. So I think it
You
may,
hope.
yeah, hopefully, it won't be where we have to depend on the offense to really, score points, and they've proven they can do it. But we don't want to put them in a situation where they have to, be always rescue the team, from disaster per se, because the defense is not doing their thing. So that was something I thought about.
Because the fear is when you have a team like that the offense has to score 40
Right,
points for you
right.
to win, that's it's such an unreasonable thing to ask because all right, the offense is going to have off moments. With how this is trending, it's looking like the offense can't have any off
Mm-hmm.
moments. If you're not scoring on every possession, the defense is trending right now to not be able to stop anybody.
Right.
Can they stop the run? It looks like it so far, yeah. Outside of I think one big run versus Youngstown State run defense has been
hmm
good. But man, not inspiring with the pass rush and it's just
Yeah.
doesn't need to be where it's
And
at
it's
right
funny you
now.
mentioned the message board talking about John L. Smith because I didn't even think about it till you mentioned that, this guy, Jonathan Smith and John L. Smith. So definitely, some identical names. The two names are the same. One just says John L., the other
Listen, that
one
was
says
my time. I
Jonathan.
lived we lived
Yes,
there. That was my time on
that
campus
was
during the
your
John L.
era
Smith.
of
Yeah,
Michigan State.
part of the dark
Yes.
ages. But I don't know if maybe it's just Michigan State ages. This is where we're at. And, it just no one wants to go back there, but it feels like
Mhm.
it. And that's all we can go for is
Right.
feelings. Like you look at the tape and say, okay, it's not. Yeah, some of the stuff is correctable, but we're a year and almost a quarter of a season through. So a season and a quarter through with this coaching staff, and there's question marks.
Yep, there sure is. There sure is. And hopefully those questions get answered starting at Southern California, where it never rains, according to Tony. It never rains in Southern California. Hopefully MSU can bring some green and white rain. So yeah, it's and I'm not one of those fans that's I try not to be a doom and gloom guy or woe is me, but it is, yeah, I leave that to you. That's why you're the super mad Spartan. But it is kind of trending that way. It's just like, wow. As much as we, the
It's hard. You're
offense
losing
and
a long time.
right, right. And for those of you who are not, MSU fans, and you just look at this, just as just your average college football fan or something, or you live in the area and you know about Michigan State, but you really don't follow them like that. Um, you have to really understand the psyche of an MSU football fan, because living in an area
Yes.
where it is dominated by nothing but maize and blue in your face 24/7, and then you know Michigan never does anything wrong because the local media here, they don't report anything. The minute that MSU does something wrong, they're all on it. And then you live in an area where you have a good number of stores. They don't sell MSU apparel. They'll sell Michigan apparel to death, but they don't sell Michigan State apparel. So you have all these different factors here that you have to contend with. And if you feel I'm on my soapbox, okay, that's fine, whatever. If you want to turn off the show, turn it off. But you have to understand the psyche of an MSU sports fan, particularly a football fan. Living here in the Detroit area, like I said, 24/7, this is what you're bombarded with. So coming off of the D'Antonio era, like the Super Matt Spartan said, that is the best era of Michigan State football in our lifetime. Prior to that, you've had some years here and there that were good, but as far as like a dominant like decade to a decade and a half in football,
Consistency.
consistency, you know, that's the first time we've seen it. So that is the level of football we want to get back to, because ever since that time, we're kind of back to a few years here and there. But for the most part, it's been thumbs down. So yeah, we're
We're
thirsting.
almost back to same old
Right.
Sparty.
We're thirsting, we're
We're
yearning
at
for that. Right.
bottom feeders
We're
almost.
yearning for getting back to, those glory days of the no fly zone, and, just being just flat out just dogs out there. We want to get back to that. So, if you hear more kind of doom and gloom and whatever, oh yeah, this is the same old Sparty. Like, we're trying to get away from that. And as fans, we go off of our feelings and what we see on the field, our eye test. And right now the eye test is saying, yes, MSU, we're 3-0, which is good, but based off of the way things have gone on the defensive side of the ball, gives you pause. So that's what we're trying to
Yes.
say. We are the voice of the fans. So that's what we are saying. That's what we're expressing. So I just want to put that out there. I
It's
didn't mean
been
to get on
such
my
a weird,
soapbox, but hey,
oh,
I just wanted to say it.
you know, it, it's perfectly fine because it's such a weird place to. I don't think I've been in this space as a fan before. Of every game, kind of feels like a referendum on the coaching staff,
Because that's what it does. It
and
does feel
fair or
like
unfair.
that.
If that's what it feels like right now, we're past the we've been we had 2021 was like, oh, we back, okay, we back, baby, we got it, and then
The Mel
just
Tucker scandal hits.
wait. Now we're just waiting. Hey, hey, next year, you know what? Once he gets his guys, we'll be good. I've been saying that since 2021. You know, and it's just been disappointment after disappointment after disappointment,
Yeah, it has.
and it feels weird because right, we finally I feel like we've been looking for a quarterback. I can easily say this right now. Aiden Childs is the best quarterback Michigan State has had since Brown the rookie. I don't think that's hyperbole.
Agreed.
I think that's a reasonable
Agreed.
take. All right, so he got us a quarterback. Now
And we got a dog receiver. I mean,
we got
Nick
some weapons on
Marsh and
offense. We got yeah, we got some pieces. And with the transfer portal, I'm not saying this, and there's no rumors out there or anything like this. And I'm not saying it's going to happen. When you have really good players and you continue to lose in college football, tends to happen nowadays with NIL and transfer
oh
portal.
yeah, you have a bigger program that kind of looks and snoops and sneaks around and says, "Hey," they start whispering. They start whispering like, "Hey, Mr. Childs, you doing your thing at Michigan State, but you want to come down here to Alabama or you want to come down to Florida where you can play football all year round and not worry about playing in sub-zero degree weather, and we'll give you $20 million to come play for us.
It and it sounds crazy,
And you
but
can bring Nick
listen,
Marsh with you. Ooh.
and they can bring Nick Marsh with you. That's what I was just getting ready to say. So that's where we're at as football fans, especially for Michigan State. Every game, new fear unlocked. You start losing with good players. You start to think about, man, why do these people want to stick around? And I'm not saying that Nick Marsh and a lot of people they're going to leave. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's a thought that creeps into your brain because it's happened to us already.
Yeah.
Subpar season. You think your good players are coming back? Nope, they out of here. They
Sincerely,
gone.
Keon Coleman. Remember him?
And guess what? Keon Coleman is still liked among Spartan Nation because we
Right.
understand. Our team was terrible. Go get your
Right.
bag.
And he did.
He went and played for an undefeated Florida
Right.
State team.
And now he's shining with the Bills.
And so I was like, okay. So I'm not saying that's going to happen, but the losing and the apathy will set in. The fan base will turn on the players, unfortunately. And some players will decide, well, maybe I don't want to be here and deal with this losing. And that's their perfectly God
Yep.
given right.
And then next thing you know, they'll start the other Big Ten teams will look at us like they used to look at Indiana, Illinois.
We're clawing to get out of the basement, and we're just sitting and keep looking. It feels like every time we take one step, just creeping out the basement, peeking our head out. Ah, no. Close the door. Close those doors.
So yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
man. Yeah, it's real. The apathy is real. It is. And I've heard that that is something that the coaching staff is aware of, but
I'm sure they are.
we'll see. We'll see. So So how are we gonna end this on a positive note?
There's still time left in the season,
Yes, there is.
and I choose to have blind faith that we will discover something to hold our hats on to. Granted, like I said, as long as I, I'm hoping for a victory. I do not know if they'll win. I don't think they'll win in my logical brain. I can't give you tangible reasons why they'll win. It can't look like nothing.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. And maybe that's a horrible position. Oh, well, if we lose, good enough. And I'm not really saying that either. I would definitely just want to win, but I'm understanding where the program is at. It's still a tough task to go on the road to the West Coast and beat a team.
Mm-hmm.
USC is not, they're not scrubs. So it's not like I'm expecting us to go in there. Now, this was like UCLA. I'm like, okay, yeah, I expect us to go to UCLA and win this game. But no. Uh, so positively, we have Aiden Childs, we have Nick Marsh. Hopefully, Marsh is
Mm-hmm.
okay. We got some playmakers on offense that give us a puncher's
Yeah.
chance. So, and maybe the defense, they get some things worked out schematically that they can just be solid enough to give the offense a chance to win the
Mm-hmm.
game. So that's my positive note before we do our preview.
Yes, I agree. That's the positive note there. So we'll just leave it there. And like I always say, check us out. YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. I mean, our social media is out there. So make sure you tune in. And yep, we'll coming back at you guys with our preview show of USC, our Big Ten talk. Got a lot to talk about. One nugget I will say, which is interesting, is that for the first time, as I guess a regular football fan or something, I thought I would blow up when it happened, Brian, or I'll burst into flames, but actually step foot into the big house. Step foot into the big house. I'll leave it for our Big Ten talk show, but yeah, we're going to leave this one on a cliffhanger, as they say in the world of filmmaking and TV show making. We'll leave it on a cliffhanger. But yeah, make sure you check us out on our social media. Please subscribe, man. Hit that subscribe button. And for those who have, subscribed to us, we thank you for that. Keep us
Much
much
appreciated.
appreciated. We're gonna keep pumping out all of our different different content for you guys here. And we out. Cue the woodshed. Go green.
Go White.